What up?
And we're live. What's up, boys?
What's good? What's good?
Time for a little Big 12 preseason preview. Starting off with the UCF Knights. We're gonna let's go to Trace first on this one. UCF Knights, Trace, you got it.
Yep. Gus Malzahn fan. I think he's an offensive guru. I love the addition of KJ Jefferson. I think he is much more. His skill set is much better suited for the Big 12. You know, he struggled at times in the SEC, but he's kind of a big body. Got some athleticism to him. Not going to kill you with speed, but he's big. They returned like 16 starters from a year ago, and so they got a lot of experience. Kind of got their feet wet in the Big 12 last year. RJ Harvey is a breakout candidate at running back. Us Sooner fans know all too well. Unfortunately, that dude felt like he ran up and down the field on us. I'm high on UCF. I'll save the rest for a little bit later. Go ahead, B Hill.
Yeah.
You guys are a lot higher than I am, or you are, Trace, man, because I'm not. I'm just not. I see the additions of like a Utah and Arizona, which we're going to get into this a little bit later. I see those two teams as potentially being better, man. I see this team as kind of like a team that's like, are they going to do something? And they're just, you know what I mean? They had that 1 year where they won the quote unquote, they called themselves national champions because they went undefeated. But man, everybody knows if you put them on the field against Bama or any of those teams that year, they would have got the absolute doors blown off of them. So I just say all that. I know Harvey, he's a nice little running back. Man, here's the thing though. The Big 12 to me, losing Oklahoma and Texas has gotten a lot more competitive. A lot of these teams, there's going to be a lot more edge out of these teams come Saturday because they don't have to have Oklahoma on the schedule. They don't have to play Texas. Now, granted, Texas in the years past hasn't been much of a threat to a lot of the teams, but you guys get what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
So I'm like a middle of the pack team with this team here, Trey. So, man, I hate to burst the bubble down there if I bursted anything, bro, but I'm just not on the same page with you on this UCF stuff, man. So we're just going to agree to disagree on this one, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, we are.
We got to do that sometimes in the house divided. I'm kind of more in line with Trace on this one. I don't want to give nothing away. I'm not going to say anything like that. I'll say this. It's a team athleticism wise, I would not want to play. I think they more than proven that last year. They have the athletes to compete in certain spots. So it's one of those teams where you look up and you're going to be in a game in the third and fourth quarter, and you're like, how? Like, why? You know what I mean?
Dude,
there's just one of those teams, you know? They're tough.
Kind of hang around like a bad cold.
To me, it's like I'm not as sold on Jefferson. I mean, he had so many opportunities at Arkansas with some pretty good players around him. I mean, let's be real. Arkansas recruits pretty decent little players over there. And he just couldn't get the job done. Now, granted, I get it. It is a softer schedule now that he's in the Big 12, but I don't know, man. I've just never been sold on that dude. I think he's been just a little bit overhyped, and he's just never shown us anything. What's he shown us?
In his defense, he was playing in the SEC West with Alabama, LSU.
Buddy, I'm sorry.
I mean, that's not it's not the division.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Swiss cheese.
I get what you're saying, but you got to put it in perspective a little bit. All right. Number 7, the West Virginia Mountaineers. Their coach saved his job last year. They had a decent year. Who wants this one first?
I'll take this one. This right here is a football team that I see kind of rising from where they were at last year. I think this is a team that finishes top 5 in the Big 12 this year. I'm not saying that they're going to be like world beaters or anything else, but this is a team that's going to benefit from not having to play in Oklahoma or not having to play at Texas. This team right here. Okay? So I just got West Virginia. They got their quarterback coming back too, right? Grant? Is he still the quarterback?
Yeah, Green.
Green.
Yeah.
I like that kid, man. He's got a lot of moxie. That kid plays with a lot of guts. I've seen him play against my Sooners quite a bit, and he gave us some fits here and there.
Mhm.
I think that West Virginia is going to be a team that can finish top 5 in this Big 12, potentially flirt with the top 4 positions. That's where I'm at. Plus,
Man.
their defense, man, they got a lot of players that came back on defense, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So this team is primed to do something. The coach saved his job last year because he did a damn good job. I think he's going to build off of that success and just move forward.
Yeah. Man, this is it, based off these first two teams. I think it tells you how much more competitive the Big 12 is this year. With usually, me and B Hill, we're pretty close on the same page, I feel like. But I'm actually going to go in the opposite direction. So we kind of have UCF and West Virginia flipped, I think. I like Green at quarterback. I think he's a stud football player. Stepped in and beat us in Norman in Morgantown 2 years ago in that rainy game. Him. I don't think there's any job to save at the end of this year. I think they're going to have a little bit of a down year. They kind of remind me of a Utah in terms of style of play. Like they're kind of one of those rugged, ragged teams.
Mhm.
They're going to try to spread it around a little bit. I just think they struggle more so with similar play style teams entering the conference because they hadn't ever really gotten to the point where they're Big 12, where they had an okay defense and an electric offense. They're almost the opposite, right? And so I think Green, again, good player. I think they kind of go where he goes. I see him kind of flirting with the 7-8 spot.
Okay. That's where I'm at. Let's go.
Mm.
I'm good with it. What you got, Corey? You got anything to add to that?
Man, I'm kind of with B Hill on this one. This is a team similar to UCF, not the same caliber athletes, but I really think they get dirty, man. They like to run the ball. You're spot on with that, Trace. They'll try to spread it out, but they're a true run team, and they're bringing back a lot of guys on defense, like B Hill said. It's another one of those teams I wouldn't want to play, especially in Morgantown. If you want to get them, you want to get them at home. But I'm right there with y'all. I could see 7, anywhere from 6, 7, 8. I think 5 would be pushing it. I think that'd be really good for them. But if they did that, then I think that coach again keeps his job again. So it's one of those ones I can't really predict. I just got to wait and see if that makes sense.
I hear it. I'm with it.
This West Virginia team, the UCF team, those two teams that we talked about is a lot like this next one, and they've been like this for a while. Iowa State, the Cyclones. You Sooner fans know all too well about the Cyclones. Who wants it first?
Go ahead, Trace.
Yeah. Man, where do I start? Coach Campbell, I think he's kind of getting to the point where he's a little bit overrated. Those first couple of years, he turned one of the worst college football teams into – heck, we played him in the Big 12 championship in 17 or 18, I believe. And I think they take a step back. We kind of seen him regress a little bit year after year. I'm not a huge fan of quarterback. I believe his name is Becht or Richt, something along the lines. But he's still young. They don't quite have the defensive prowess. This conference is getting more competitive in that 1 to 6 range, where it's really getting tough for us to pick out a front runner. And so I do have to pick some teams that I think are going to jump teams from last year. I see Iowa State being one of those teams that falls. I don't think it's a drastic fall where Campbell loses his job, but I do see a step back.
I agree 100%. I'm right there, thick and thin with everything that you just said. I think that they've been actually regressing these past few seasons ever since they played OU in that Big 12 championship game. That year that we had Spencer Rattler, that was the COVID year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
yep. So going back to that, they always play us tough, but they never really play anybody else tough, if that makes sense. Like, you've never seen them really beat another top team, which here in the Big 12, you're probably going to have a bunch of teams that are going to be in like that 12 to 25 range. There's going to be a bunch of teams that are bunched right up in there because, no disrespect, I don't see a top 10 caliber football team in this conference. Just being real. And we might get into this a little bit later. But with this team, man, I'm kind of with Trace, man. They're going to finish like 9th or 10th. That's about where I'm at with them right now.
All right. I can see that. I beg to differ on they don't beat anybody but OU. They beat OSU when we were ranked number 2 in the country way back when.
How
in
long
2011.
ago was that, though, my guy?
They
Come on,
beat
I
us
need some
when
consistency.
they
here.
beat us when we were number 7 in the country 2 years ago. When we almost made the college football playoff, the year we lost to Baylor in the Big 12 championship. They were the only team that beat us in the regular season that year. And so that was another top 10 team for top 10 win for them against a top 10 team in OSU. So they're scrappy, they're dirty, they play hard. That's Campbell in a nutshell. Nothing special about them. Breece Hall, Brock Purdy, those are some of the names that have come out of that school. I think they do a great job of developing, right? They're not going to get a top-ranked recruiting class, but they're going to develop their guys, and they're going to play tough football. So I can see where you guys see 9, 10, even 7 or 8, whatever. But, yeah, I agree with y'all on that.
They're going to have a lot of close games, though. There'll be a lot of close games for
a lot of scrappy games.
Like they'll be in there scrapping it. I just don't think they're going to be able to have the grit or the grind or the whenever we talk about the Jimmies and the Joes.
Yeah,
they ain't got them, my guy. They just ain't got them.
I agree. I would be careful going to Jack Trice Stadium if you're a Big 12 team. Places like the Twilight Zone. I've always said it. You don't know where. You don't get it. You're in a stadium and people are cheering and they got a first down for 3 yards and you're like, what the hell is going on?
I agree.
It's that type of place.
Where dreams go to die.
I agree.
All right, number 5. This is where it starts to get good for me, guys. I'm excited about this top 5 because to me, these are all interchangeable almost. And to me, this next team, top 5, the 5th ranked team, Arizona, to me has the best receiver in the country. I don't care what you say. I'll argue you down on that one. So I think Trace, you led off the last one, right?
Yep.
B Hill, let's start off with you.
They arguably have one of the best quarterbacks in this conference too.
That's true.
Is it Fajita?
Fafita.
Fafita. Man, I knew it was something like that. That dude's a baller right there, man. Other than maybe Cameron Rising, I think that he's arguably the best quarterback in this conference. A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, what about Sanders? What about Shador out here?" Come on, man. Let's calm down on all that. but to be real, Fafita and that receiver that you talked about, Corey.
Catarola.
McMillan.
I like them. I like Arizona a lot. I've got Arizona finishing top 3 in this conference, man. Top 3 in this conference. I think that they're going to be a very good football team. I think the Jedd Fisch leaving and the quarterback and that receiver staying spoke volumes to me. It's kind of like, we're like, the coach left, but we're still going to keep this thing together. I think they only lost a defensive lineman to Texas, if I'm not mistaken, in the transfer portal. Other than that, I think things kind of stayed intact for them. That's where I'm at. I like this football team in Arizona, man, and I think they're going to finish top 3 in the Big 12.
Yeah, I again, one of these teams that's coming in new from the Pac-12. We obviously know about them, watching them in the Alamo, but teams change drastically from the bowl game to the regular season of that next year. I do think Jedd Fisch leaving is going to hurt them more so than people think. I know they didn't lose a lot in the portal. They've got Fafita back, who, like we've talked about, he's electric. McMillan is, one of the very best in the country at his position, if not the best. I think they lose a little bit of that Jedd Fisch edge, and I really don't have any other way to explain it other than kind of the team becomes what the head coach is, right? And he embodies that toughness that kind of brought Arizona back, like on defense in the Alamo Bowl. I just remember there were a couple of hits where I was like, man, I've never seen Arizona defenders act like this, like trying to knock people's heads off. And I think you lose a little bit of that edge. I think it's an okay ranking. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see him 5. I do see it more so as like a ceiling of theirs, maybe 4. I think they'll be in some closer games than they should be, just because these teams are new to them, and so they could go, play West Virginia, and it's closer than we think, or some of these weird to play places, Iowa State, something like that, where they've never played there. It's just a little weird for them coming from Arizona. Not really hostile environments outside of Autzen in the Big 12. So that'll be something newer to them. I think it's a good, I think 5 is a good spot for them.
Hey, man, these ain't your daddy's Arizona Wildcats. I'm just saying.
That's true. I
They
agree
some
with
new
that.
Wildcats,
Agree with
man. They some new Wildcats. I tell you this, bro. This is a team with nothing to lose, and I say that because they have the talent to beat anybody in the conference, but I don't think they're getting respected that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like your Jet Fish point, him leaving and the guys staying. That lets you know right there that they ride for that university. In the day of NIL, where it's easy to pack up, let's go get a check over here, for you to stay in Arizona.
Respect.
Like that's respect. And so that's another team, bro. There's a lot of teams, I keep saying this, I sound redundant, but that's not a team I want to see, especially with that receiver, that quarterback, and that mentality where there's nothing to lose. We're here the first year in the conference. It's a party for us.
Also, you got to think, too, those Big 12 teams that are traveling to Arizona that ain't never been there before, too.
Oh, bro.
That used to be kind of a quote-unquote twilight zone for the Pac-12 teams. There was a lot of times you'd see like a top-ranked USC or a top-ranked Oregon go in there, and Arizona would give them all they could handle. And that was before Arizona could do any damn thing on the football field.
Yeah, so, I agree with that for sure.
So point that one out, too. I mean, that is something to think about, too.
Yep. This one here is probably the most interesting preseason pick. The number 4 Kansas Jayhawks. I already know why you're laughing, B Hill. I'm gonna start with who went first last time.
I did. Go ahead, Trace.
All right, let's go, Trace.
I'm selling the stock here. I think I'm a Lance Leopold guy. I think he's done tremendous, moved mountains for the program, but you can only move one direction when you're Kansas. To be honest with you, it's either you just continue on the same boat or you keep going. Selling stock for the one reason. I think Jalen Daniels is one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Big asterisk when he plays.
He doesn't play.
I'm about to say.
Doesn't ever play.
He doesn't play very much. I mean, everyone remembers him because he was the preseason first team All Big 12 last year. He brought the little Apple Watch chain, and the dude's cold when he plays, don't get me wrong, but they've always had, with this Leopold team that's been much improved, they've always had Jason Bean as a backup who got a lot of experience. Jalen Daniels goes down game 2, 3. I'm not wishing injury on anyone. It's just the history. Jalen Daniels goes down week 2, 3, 4. You don't have Jason Bean who's got the experience now. And so I see them not going back to KU form per se. They're taking a step back, I think. So that's really all I got on them.
504, boy. First of all, this is a Big 12 show, my guy. Appreciate you stopping by and commenting, though. But check back with me. I think that game's in November. Holla back at me in November, my guy. We'll see how you're feeling about that.
He came in hot with a whole.
He did. He sure did. I'm like, buddy.
I like it.
Buddy, I
he
love
must have
it.
watched the previous episode and got
He's on the hot takes.
I love it. I love it. I love it, buddy. I love it. I love it.
Go ahead, B.
Man, brother, man.
Say it. Just say it. I know what you want to say. Just say it.
They're way overhyped, man. This is the Kansas freaking Jayhawks we're talking about here. It's still the Kansas Jayhawks. I don't care what nobody says. Yes, they beat us last year. That took a damn rain delay for like 2 hours and in between the game for them to do it, and things just go completely awry. Here it is, man. They're not going to be top 5 in this conference. I got them finishing like anywhere between 7 and 10 range. I'm not as high on excuse me. I'm not as high. Daniels, like I said, he don't play. Okay? Mm-hmm. Goodbye. That's where I'm at. Is Bean gone now?
Yeah,
he's gone.
Okay, so like you pointed to, who the hell are they going to get put in there now?
Bean's in the league. Matter of fact,
Yeah, he played. He got so much playing time from
Bean's in the
Daniels
league.
missing. He got it.
He
He
made
got
the
to the league.
league?
yeah,
Did he get
Yeah.
drafted?
no,
No, he got picked up for
Oh.
agent. But
Well,
still,
by
though, that's how
who?
much playing time he acquired. Man.
The Broncos? Because they need a quarterback.
No, they got Zach Wilson and
Colts.
Bo Nix. They're fine.
The Colts?
yep.
That's a nice, yeah. He
All
can
right.
run that system. He got some wheels. That dude
Shane
can run.
Steichen.
Let's talk about this next team on the list, man.
Yeah, it's time, boys. If you ask me, this team's picked way too low at number 3.
Oklahoma
This would be
State.
my preseason number 1 pick, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and that's not a hot take.
What a damn
All
surprise.
right. Brandon, I'll let you start this one off.
I actually think that Oklahoma State, I'm right there with you. I'll repeat that sentiment, man. I actually think that Oklahoma State is the best and most talented football team in this conference. You guys got players coming back on defense. You got Brendan Presley. You got who's the kid in the backfield? Ollie Gordon. If that guy
Who's the
can
kid
just-
in the backfield?
Hey,
Whoa.
listen.
The Doak Walker
That-
Award winner
that
from
was a
last year.
That's just a little shot. That's just a little shot for you, man. But
All
no,
right.
listen. No, hey, that's just a little shot for you. No pun intended. Hopefully, he can stop taking those and getting behind the wheel, man, and he'll be all right. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on.
If you want to be real. So, yeah. Let's talk about that since you want to bring him up. You want to talk about all this. Let's holler about it.
Let's talk about the punishment. The 50 carries in the
let's
first
also
week.
go-
Game is insane.
Listen, I got something else. And let's also talk about how Gundy's dumbass going to sit up there at the press conference and say, oh, I'm going to punish him by handing him the ball about 35, 40 times in the first game.
Hey, how about Gundy admitting to drinking
Buddy.
beers and driving?
That was
Like,
I ain't mad at him.
him.
I ain't mad at him,
He needs to
though,
go
man.
be
I
Kirby
ain't
Smart's
mad at him.
DC.
I ain't mad at him.
Oh
All right.
man. Are you
Yeah.
done, B?
Oklahoma
You still going? Or you want me to hand it to Trace?
State's gonna win this conference. They're the best team. You guys got your quarterback coming back from last year, Bowman. He's not the best quarterback in this division, but I mean, you guys got a lot of stability coming back, right? I like that. And you don't have Oklahoma and Texas. You guys don't have Oklahoma and Texas standing in your way. So
Yeah.
now, granted, you beat us last year, but we're not going to go over the overall series. But
Thank you.
come on, little brother. I would love nothing more than to see little brother win this conference after we left. We left it to you guys, man. Here it is. Go take it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll
Go
try.
take it.
You
Go take it.
We'll try.
We will try.
Take it back.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Trace.
I think I'm not.
Bro, who is this? See, this is what I mean.
Can they beat Iowa State? Man, we'll see if there's
My
anybody.
bad, Trace. Go ahead.
I think I'm along the lines of B Hill, maybe not quite as high where like I'm considering them champions. I think they'll actually finish second. I think they'll lose in the championship game, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I think they're there. 21 returning starters out of 22, lost one. Good football team. I mean,
Yep.
I think the reason, and we'll get to the team here in just a minute that I think wins it, but I think the reason they end up getting there is because of Ollie Gordon. I think the reason they end up losing in the Big 12 championship is because of Alan Bowman. And I know he's just a roller coaster quarterback, man. He's got a lot of experience. He's just so up and down. You don't know what you're going to get. Like you could get a 350-yard passer, 3 touchdowns, a pick. Next game you come out and the dude's throwing the ball behind his head for 76 yards. And the defense is going to be stout. They have been for the past 3 or 4 years. They've been a nationally great defense. I think with the experience that they have, Brendan Presley coming back, big-time receiver, obviously. I do think they finished second. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to have a trash season. I think they're going to be right in the race. And so fighting for, potentially a playoff spot, I think they'll get there. So, that's where I am with the Cowboys.
Fellas, I appreciate the kind words. I
No,
really
sure.
do.
No.
Hey, look, in all seriousness, I think we bring back one of the better O-lines, if not the best O-line in the conference, maybe nationally.
Yeah.
We do bring back a lot of starters. I'm looking for Nick Martin and Colin Oliver on defense. We started 3 to 4 freshmen every week last year in the secondary. So hopefully those young guys have grown up. They'll just be sophomores. They'll still be young, but they got a whole year under their belt.
Still got Kendall Daniels back there.
Still got Kendall Daniels at safety. So
He's
there's a
moved
lot
to
of talent.
linebacker, actually. I don't know if you guys have heard
Is
that.
he a linebacker now?
They got him up to about 240.
That doesn't surprise me. And I suggested that last year.
And they moved him to linebacker.
Thank God. So there you go. So now we got more depth at linebacker. I'm sure they're going to plug somebody in at safety. But this all comes down to what you said, Trace. It's you go as Bowman goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this dude throw the ball in the double and triple coverage so many times last year that I can't stomach it. A lot of people were mad at Gundy for starting 3 quarterbacks or going through 3 quarterbacks the first 3 weeks. But honestly, when you sit back and look at the situation and you look at what Bowman was, like you said, Trace, an up and down roller coaster, you can see why they started off that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so honestly, he terrifies me, quite honestly.
Yeah, but when you can, but when you have a quarterback like that does terrify you or does scare you and is a little shaky, what's his best friend, Corey? Being able to sit there and just hand the damn ball off.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Friday Night Lights, man. What'd they say? Booby Miles said, all you had to do is exist in that 5 seconds or the 2 seconds to where you just turn around and hand me the damn ball.
Is Casey Dunn still calling plays?
He is. And that scares me too. And I love Casey Dunn. I talked to him a bunch of times.
Yeah.
The thing with Casey is he gets a little repetitive or a little telegraphic. You can kind of see what's coming. The big thing is B Hill. I get your point. The run game is going to be your best friend, but teams like Houston, BYU, UCF, after Ollie was Ollie last year, we beat 2 out of the 3, but those teams keyed in on the run game, and so at some point you got to be able to throw the ball and do it consistently and not throw to the other team. And so if Bowman can do that, I like our chances. If he's the same Bowman from last year and he's testing, he thinks he's Brett Favre and he can gunsling and hit guys and fit these windows, then we're in for a long season. All right, because we got lucky. We got lucky against BYU last year. We got lucky we came back against Houston. The UCF game was just an ass whooping. And so it's those performances. We got down to BYU and Houston because of Bowman throwing.
You got lucky against OU too. Stop snarking on that.
92-20, boys. 90, whatever it is. All right. That's enough about OSU.
We out.
Number 2, Kansas State, the Wildcats, who lost their quarterback to Ohio State. So this is interesting to me. B Hill, take off.
4th place team here. I mean, this is my 4th place team. I told you Arizona was going to be 3rd. Told you Oklahoma State was going to win. Kind of gives away who's going to be 2nd. It's going to be the next team that we talk about. But this is a good football team. Don't get me wrong. Kansas State's always going to be one of those teams. I mean, how do you go from Snyder all them damn years and you just go grab North Dakota State's freaking coach that won all those national titles at North Dakota State? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it's just a level of consistency that Kansas State plays with. They're always one of those teams that can be a thorn in your side because they just don't make mistakes to beat themselves. They are a fundamentally sound football team, and they play the game the right way. They play the way that it's supposed to be played. Problem is it comes down to Jimmy's and Joe's, and I just don't think when you're talking about the top 3 teams that we have, Corey, you just mentioned, their quarterback transferred. He's gone. He went somewhere else. So it's like, where are they? Who is their damn quarterback? I don't even know who the quarterback is.
I'll get one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. I know. Avery Johnson.
Is
it him?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, hey, buddy.
That doesn't change anything for me.
Yeah.
We're at 4th place.
Just before you go, Trace, I agree with you, B Hill. I see him as a 4th or 5th place team. Go ahead, Trace.
Yeah. Buckle your seatbelts, fellas. A little bit premature hot take here. I think Kansas State is the Big 12 champion.
Oh, man.
Hold on. And I think you guys, it's going to be one of those Weigman situations. Avery Johnson is the highest rated recruit in Kansas State history. Avery Johnson was a top 5 nationally ranked quarterback in 2 out of the 3 major recruiting services. Avery Johnson last year had a game where he played 16 snaps and had 5 touchdowns on 16 snaps. He is the prototypical K-State quarterback. The difference is he is where Howard was. He is where Klein was as a sophomore because he got to play early. I really do. And I'll save it for a little bit because I am big on Avery Johnson. I'm a big Avery Johnson guy. Watched him a lot in high school. I think he is. I know we talked about Howard leaving, and they didn't have their starting quarterback from last year. I think this guy's an improvement, almost like we've talked about with Jackson and Dylan Gabriel, where they were kind of like, "Hey, buddy, you might need to go because you got this cat behind you that's the truth." And so,
Are we talking about the little Caucasian fellow from last year that they were bringing from time to time?
he's pretty good, but yes, he is he's
Number 4
fellow. And number 5.
I like number 5. I like him.
Yeah,
If that's what we're talking about,
he's
I
Yeah.
like him. Yeah,
I think
he's cool.
now he's the starter. Last year he was a true freshman. You don't see it happen at Power 5
No.
schools. Very rarely start, right? Now he's got a year under his belt. He's got experience that most true freshman quarterbacks don't have, and he's in a conference without Oklahoma and Texas. Now, we know the defense hasn't been that from those 2 teams the last few years, but the Big 12's defense hasn't been that for the last few years. I think he's the difference because he's that much better than Bowman. Now, we know K-State on defense, we're going to get the same thing. It's that tough, rugged. They're going to bring 3, 4. They're going to get you in 3rd and longs and try to beat you with subpar athletes in four-techs. And it's worked for the most part. And it certainly works against a run-heavy team, I think, like Oklahoma State, where they can kind of fill the box and then make Bowman beat you. Where I think the difference is I just think that on that particular day, Bowman has an off day and Kansas State wins. That's really where I am with them.
I got you.
See, but the problem with that is Oklahoma State owns Kansas State, man.
Yeah,
Like, OSU
OSU
always beats K-State. Like, even the years K-State would beat us, like, OSU would just smack them. And I'm just like, what? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So that's why I would take an Oklahoma State. I'm just, man, I get it, man. I'm just not as high on them.
Yeah. Somebody's got to be, jumping and rising and falling and
Yeah, somebody
Well,
teams got to move up and down. I will say this about K-State. They were the Big 12 champs 2 years ago. Obviously, things didn't go the way they wanted last year. But if I knew you were talking about Avery Johnson, if I knew that number 5 was the guy you were talking about at the beginning, I think I'd have softened my position a little bit. Every time I saw that dude on the field last year, it was something special.
Yeah, he scored like every other play, it seemed like.
And even if he didn't score, he make a 5 or 6 yard gain look cool. That scares me. So yeah, look, they're top 3 team for me. But we got to get into this number 1 team, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
The newcomer to the Big 12, already getting all the love. The Utah Utes. We already know about their pedigree. They won the Pac-12 2 out of the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of those tough, gritty run teams that hit you with play actions. We can go on and on. Who wants it first?
Go ahead, Trace.
Yeah. I know I said K-State's the Big 12 champion, and it wouldn't shock me at all to see Utah right there. They've got the pedigree. They've got the quarterback, phenomenal coaching staff. I don't know. I really can't tell you guys why I think Oklahoma State has experience. It just seems like Utah kind of gets tripped up by a random team every, in the middle of October. And the weird thing about the Big 12 this year, like we've talked about, got a lot of random teams that you got to go play. And so that's kind of, Utah shows up for the big game and they show up, they go play in the Rose Bowl and play lights out. They go play in the Pac-12 championship. They play lights out. They play nationally ranked USC. They kill them every time. It's just those trap games, if you would, is the games where they struggle. And so I think you have a lot of teams on this list where you're not going to like just kind of brush them off to the side subconsciously. Of course, the coaches and players will take every game as serious. I just think there's like a couple of trap games where Oklahoma State and Kansas State don't necessarily lose those games. But I don't see Utah losing more than 2 football games. I think they finished third as a ceiling, and I certainly wouldn't be shocked to see them in the championship.
I got them as my second place team. I mean, Utah Utes, man, and that's a very close, like it's a razor thin close second.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Big 12 championship game is gonna be a hell of a football game to watch this year, man. Them against Oklahoma State, I would take Oklahoma State, but I wouldn't be surprised if Utah handled their business and won the game. Just because Cameron Rising is a special player. He didn't get to play last year, so he's getting to come back off that medical red shirt this season. I think the guy's like, what, a 7th-year senior, if I'm not mistaken?
He'll be 25.
Okay. So he's like a 7th-year senior. So basically, this team right here, they play with toughness. Their coach is a hell of a coach. They got a great scheme. They stick to their scheme. I'm with you too, Trace. They do have a couple slip-ups here and there to where it's like, what are you doing? You have no business doing that. Other than that, though, man, I think this Utah team is going to be sitting there at the end of the season, and they're going to be having a chance to win a Big 12 title.
Yeah.
Yep, I see it the way y'all see it. September 21st and September 28th. Keep those 2 dates in mind. September 21st, they go to Stillwater. September 28th, they get Arizona at home. After that, the schedule is filled with teams that we have not talked about from this conference. So you can see how it sets up pretty nice for them. I think the only team they got left after that, Iowa State and UCF, are the only 2 teams after those 2 games that we talked about on this show today. So
Okay.
Kind of an easy, if that makes sense, it's an easy Big 12 schedule.
Especially compared to their schedule last year with as many teams that were ranked in the Pac-12. You know, they had a strong year last year.
Okay. Hot takes.
So who I need to bet on winning the Big 12? Utah, Oklahoma State. Well,
Oklahoma
if you're listening to me, Oklahoma State. If you're listening to B Hill,
Oklahoma
OSU.
State.
If you're listening to
Oklahoma
Trace,
State.
K-State.
Utah or K-State.
Oklahoma State.
Oh, man.
Put on Okie State, man. They got the best running back in the league. It's going to matter, I'm telling you.
I hope you're right, brother. I hope you're 100% right. All right, hot takes. Who wants it first?
Go ahead, Trace.
Yeah. Okay. So since we already talked about them, I got another quarterback hot take. Like I said, big fan of Avery Johnson, offensive player of the year in the conference.
Okay.
And
there is Ollie Gordon.
There is a ton of studs. Don't get me wrong. Ollie will be up there. The Shador glazing will be up there. You'll have Fafita.
Travis Hunter.
You'll have plenty of guys. I just think this offense is going to be designed around Avery Johnson to fit his skill set, much like how Oklahoma State's offense is kind of run. But you get the consistency of the play calling at K-State, whereas there's going to be games Oklahoma State plays where Ollie might only touch it 12 times, and they let Bowman throw it 52 times, right? And so Avery Johnson's going to be – the game plan is going to be him. And so I just think he has the ability to go out, and if he does what I think he will do against defenses that, you know, is a favorable matchup against his skill set, I think he is at least a candidate for the conference player of the year.
I can see that. So many good players, though, man.
There's a lot.
Happens. No, that's not as hot as you would think, man. B,
I got a hot one.
On that?
I got a hot one. The Colorado Buffaloes win the Big 12, and Travis Hunter is the offensive player of the year in the Big 12. I just threw it out there. I don't think it's going to happen. This is a hot take, of course.
Yep. I got a Colorado take, but I'm going to wait a minute now.
Yeah, there it is. It is. So throw that one out there. I'm not going to say you can book it. He said, "Shit, no, I love it. I love it. I love it."
Oh man,
That's my hot take. I really don't have anything else.
I
other
got
than
one
that.
for you.
I'm gonna be real because I'm gonna be real, and I just want to kind of say this, like it's kind of like my closing statement before we end the show. After y'all do your couple hot takes or whatever, I'm not really. I ain't really. I care less about the big.
You moved on, bro. You just said I moved on. You moved on to bigger pastures. We get it. You don't have to throw it in our face.
I care less. I care less.
We're
man.
going to the
Care less.
FCC. Oh. All right. Here's
I
my
just
hot
care
take.
less.
Here's my hot take. UCF will play for a Big 12 championship. They will not win it, but they will play in the Big 12 championship game.
I don't mind it.
Shit, no.
I like it. I got them finishing fourth, so I don't mind it. I think
this is a dangerous club. How many starters they bringing back, Trace?
17 is what I saw.
That's a lot of return in depth, bro.
and
Bunch
KJ
of
Jefferson.
losers. Bunch of losers. A bunch of
Okay.
losers.
Until you
All
actually
right.
play state.
Put them on your non-SEC schedule. Tell old Joe Castiglione to put them on the schedule next year.
They don't want no
KJ.
smoke. They don't want no smoke. They don't want no smoke.
You got another one, Trace? I got
Oh, yeah.
one more.
Yeah, I got another one. I think we're
What you
probably
got?
going the same.
I'll piggyback off yours and
Yeah.
it's what
Yeah.
I think it is.
Mine is since day one. So for the viewers, Corey and I coached together last year. So we kind of saw the whole Dion thing unfold where he went to Colorado. Our whole coaching staff was high on Colorado, man.
Bro.
They were glazing
Took the
Colorado.
cheese.
So I was the only one really, and then Corey and I he came back down to earth eventually after that third week. They're second to last in the Big 12, and that I believe. I think BYU is the only team that finishes below them. Not a believer at all. You go to the portal and you get it's like the misfit toys. It was like guys that were highly recruited that weren't necessarily guys that were going to play, like Peyton Kirkland. He
Preach.
wasn't going to play at Texas.
No, he was not.
Travis Hunter, all this two-way talk, he's not going to do it in the league. We kind of overhype him, I think, to an extent, as far as you go watch that game against Stanford last year when the dude put up 300 receiving yards and 4 slugs. Not all on him, but there was a couple, at least 150 of them.
He got hit top a couple times.
The offensive line is not improved. They're terrible. So in the trenches, you're the same place you were last year. I get you played in a tough conference, but to get just dismantled the rest of the year in their conference play that like they did,
Have you looked at their schedule?
I have. Yeah.
I mean,
Is it not good?
For like
What's it
Big
look like?
12 standards, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, like they got Baylor, UCF, at UCF, and then they're at home against Kansas State, at Arizona, at home against Cincinnati.
I'm looking at it now.
At Texas Tech, which Texas Tech's going to be a much improved football team too.
Yes,
That's
they were
they were
ranked
really
ninth.
talk about.
Yeah, they were right outside. They were at 9.
They're going to be improved, and then
Their
they got
last 3.
Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State.
Tough. That's tough.
Crazy.
I think it's BYU, and at the bottom going up, I think it's BYU. I think it's Colorado.
So Arizona State finishes above them then.
Yeah, and that bottom, you can kind of like the top, you can toss it around.
Does Arizona State still got that running back? What was that kid's name? That white dude. What was his name?
Scatterbo.
Scatterbo.
He's still there.
They still got him?
He's tough, man.
I like Scatterbo.
He's a beast on that NCAA 25.
They couldn't do nothing else but get a ball to Scatterbo and watch him go.
Man, that's what they did. And
that white boy can run the football. I'm telling you, man. I like it. It was fun to watch. I watched a couple, the Pac-12 games whenever they have them on late at night and everything. I'd be flipping through on a Saturday, man, and I seen old Scatterbo. There was that game they almost beat Washington, like later in the season. I was watching
close.
They gave
Scatterbo
OSU fits. It
Yeah.
was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter when OSU played up there last year. So
there we are, Scatterbo.
I'm gonna take. Oh, you got one?
No, I'm good.
I'm gonna piggyback off Trace's. Not only do they finish second to last, I think it gets ugly. I think you're gonna hear a lot of reports of dissension. I'm not saying nobody's getting fired. Y'all know my take on that. I hate saying that, but it's not gonna be pretty. All that flashing your wrist, all of this, all of the antics and all that stuff that went by the wayside after they started 3-0 and they started getting their ass beat. After all of that happened, I think it's going to get worse. Yeah, I think Dan Lanning I think he exposed when he said that thing about the clicks and all that. They're fighting for clicks. That exposed a lot, and I think it gets worse this year.
He baptized them boys.
Man,
yeah,
he baptized them.
Yeah, not a believer in it. Not a believer.
Yeah.
Hey man, I like Dion though. I mean, like we got to be real though. What he's done for Colorado. I mean, let's be real.
Oh, you want to talk about the money and stuff?
They are fighting for some clicks, and they're getting clicks.
They're getting a lot of
people watch them, and people are interested in what they're doing. So that they won't win 6 games. More than likely not. I would say the latter underneath that.
No.
Yeah.
So
no. And you know what's sad about it, and we'll close after this one. When this first went down, when this signing and they got Dion and everything, I sat back and I said it's not going to be what they think. And I think what's sad is people, they have a whole cult following around them. I mean, they had the whole hip hop culture on the sideline. There's so many old rappers I ain't seen in years. I mean, just the momentum they had, and you saw it the first 3 weeks. And all I needed to see last year was the other Colorado team, Colorado State. After that game, I knew I was like, they're in trouble.
Hey, here's one thing that I will tell you though. With some of the recruits that he is getting some top flight recruits. I mean, the left tackle that they got out of that IMG Academy was like one of the top rated offensive tackles. So they got that kid. They got some players over there. Something I just want the folks and people to keep in mind at home. Deion Sanders is going to get players to come play for him. And the longer that he's there, this is just his second season there. Okay? So I think that there's going to be an improvement from last season. I don't think that they're like big strides or anything, but I think that you're going to see some improvements even from a Shedeur Sanders back there in the backfield. Because this is a make or break year for Shedeur Sanders, man. He's playing for the NFL this year.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? This kid don't go out here and ball out and live up to the hype, man. You're Deion Sanders' kid, okay? You have some primetime lights on you no matter what just because of that. The kid could play anywhere in the country, and he would get the publicity, the clicks, everything else. I think that they're going to keep improving. And I think Colorado in the next 4 to 5 years, maybe 3 years, is going to be a team to be reckoned with. I really do. I think Deion's building something over there, man. I think he is.
I got a question for both of y'all, really. And the big thing is they're going to get everybody's best game.
Always
they're going to get everybody's best game because they write checks that they ass can't cash. And we saw that last year. This is interesting to me. I'll get both of your answers on this. The first 3 games, they could be in trouble. North Dakota State, who hadn't lost in like 29 games, I think they might beat Colorado.
No,
Nebraska is well improved.
They're not beating Colorado. No,
bro, I'm telling you, North Dakota State.
They're the truth.
They're the division. They're in the different division. Okay. It's FCS school, my guy. Okay. Come on, bro.
All right.
No, it's not going to happen.
I'm going to save this clip because I want to be here Saturday.
NDSU has the trenches.
Can I get my shirt? You can book it. They ain't going to know.
All right. Let me get through the other 2 games because we're talking about the first 3 weeks. Nebraska. At Nebraska, who will be much improved.
That one I could see him being there.
And then at Colorado State, coming off of last year and that whole lead up to that game and all the trash talk and Colorado State pushing them around most of the game, and then
Colorado
winning at the end.
State did cheap shot that man Travis Hunter though.
Yeah.
Let's be real and keep
Yeah.
that. Like,
So
in
I'm
mind.
throwing out another hot take here. Can
Okay.
the Buffaloes go 0-3 to start the season?
No.
I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest with you. I think North Dakota State is I mean, heck, I know it was a while ago, but they went in and beat K-State 2 years in a row.
They
Or
did.
I'm sorry, it was K-State and then Iowa State, I believe.
It was K-State or
it was
you're
2
right.
years in a row they won.
Yeah,
They beat a
they
Big
beat
12
two.
team.
Yep.
And I think they are like opposite brands of football. I think North Dakota State has – where's that game, Corey?
I said
Colorado.
Colorado.
It's in
See, I
Colorado.
think – I mean, because it's in Colorado, if I had to put money on it, I'd pick the Buffaloes. But North Dakota State's going to hold the ball.
Yes.
And they're going to they're going to run between the tackles.
Yes.
And where's Colorado weak? Defensively between the tackles.
Yes.
And if you keep it out of Shador's hands, make it a short game, I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't be like an Appalachian State and Michigan type deal where it was like the upset of the century. But I do think, I mean, like I said, I think Colorado probably wins it. I think it could be a lot closer than people think, and wouldn't be shocked if North Dakota State won.
All right, let's give that game to them. That Nebraska and that Colorado State game, you'll find out a lot about this team in the first 3 weeks.
They'll beat
especially in week 2 and
Colorado
3.
State. They'll beat Colorado State. Travis Hunter will go off on Colorado State.
They still got that. They Colorado State brings their quarterback back, who was
They
just
got that receiver.
Yep, number 14, Tony Morton.
Yeah. Yes.
Travis
that dude
Hunter.
was the truth.
They'll
Yes.
put Travis Hunter on him. They'll put Travis Hunter on him.
Man, they
I'm
tried
telling you.
last year.
They did.
No,
They
and they
scored on
but
Travis.
didn't they knock him out in like the second quarter though? Wasn't it
Yeah,
early in the game?
I don't know, man. Morton was the truth.
Yeah.
That's
right.
fair.
You know, I think that one's kind of a toss up. I think they lose to Nebraska because it's in Nebraska, and I think I'm pretty high on Raiola. I think it'll take him possibly some time to turn into, you know, what I think he will be. I'm not saying he's generational like some people are, but I mean, he is a good quarterback, especially for Nebraska.
Mhm.
Being in the second game, I think that's a favorable matchup against the Colorado defense that we know has struggled. So I would say 2-1, 1-2. I don't think they go 3-0 non-conference.
B 3-0. It sounds like
Two
you're a
and-
3-0 guy.
I'm a
2-1.
2-1. 2-1.
2-1.
I
Okay.
don't think they could pull up in there Nebraska and beat Nebraska. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I'm 2-1 though.
Yeah.
They lose that first one against North Dakota State. That
It could
next
be
week is
long,
going
long,
to be
long.
They ain't gonna lose. They ain't gonna
crazy.
lose.
Could be a
They ain't gonna lose.
long season.
They ain't gonna do that.
Crazy. All right,
ain't gonna
B-Hill,
do that.
close us out, man.
All right, then, y'all. Y'all already know. If you're not subscribed already and you ain't a part of this House Divided family, that's your own damn fault. You need to subscribe, tap the notification bell. Always drop down there. We always want to hear from you guys in those comments below. Talk to us. Give us your feedback. Also to TikTok, like, subscribe, follow us on the TikTok as well. Share this video too on all the platforms. Throw it on your Twitter, throw it on your Instagram, throw it on your TikTok. I do not care. Help us grow this thing because this House Divided is taking off. I'm telling you, folks. So, as always, peace out, guys. Y'all be good.
Peace.
Peace.